Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about a subject that was being debated when the Constitution was being drafted, right? And they were having these debates over whether or not to ratify the Constitution, and that is the need for a president, right? The need to have an executive branch, because a lot of people were arguing that hey, president sounds a little bit too much like king, right, or temporary king, and how do you get this person, like how do you restrict this person, how do you limit his power, and how do you get him out of power to have a peaceful transition? Today we kind of look back and we say, hey, well, look at it. I mean, it happened. It's easy. When at the time, right, when the founding fathers were looking back in history, what they saw is that anytime somebody took power, they almost never gave it up. Okay, so it was a very valid argument to say that hey, we probably shouldn't have a president. Okay, so the way it would have worked is you would have had the legislation that passed the laws, right, and then appointed these or selected these bureaucrats that would then enforce these laws. Okay, so the Biden presidency has given us a glimpse at exactly what that would be like. Okay, because in the Biden administration, basically everybody at this point, even Democrats, acknowledge that he really wasn't running the country. His mind just wasn't at a level that he could run the country. Essentially, the bureaucrats were running the country. Okay, so the bureaucrats are doing whatever was in their own best interest. So with most of these bureaucracies, like for example, ATF, FDA, EPA, it's in their general interest, right, to, pass more regulations, enforce them, get more fines. To them, that's business. Okay, so there was nobody to like control them, to rein them in. And we see this more than any place with the military-industrial complex, with the Defense Department. Okay, so you've got CIA, military, or rather, not necessarily CIA. Let's say intelligence, right? Because there's CIA, there's also NSA. So you got intelligence, you got the actual military, and then you got the military industry that are all working together in their own best interest. And people in the business of war are always going to want to have war. Okay, so war is good business for military people. Maybe not for the enlisted grunts, but for the higher ups, absolutely. Okay, the reason why people become generals is because they want to have wars. They want to, that's a way for them to do their thing, right? So generals generally want to have war, even though they say they don't want wars. You know what? Nobody ever remembers the general that never went to war. Okay, that was running a perfect peacetime military. Okay, everybody remembers the generals that basically, like Patton and Eisenhower and all these great generals. Okay, that won great wars. So if we look at, I'll give you guys two perfect examples, right? That are like obvious and glaring us in the face. Okay, the October 7th attacks in Israel. Okay, which was a very wide scale operation, right? Now, the CIA, right, American intelligence, they have all the communications in the world wired. Okay, so there's no way that you could have had all those people communicating back and forth, coordinating with each other, and U.S. intelligence would not have been aware of it. Okay, and furthermore, they would have communicated that information to Israeli intelligence, right? And the two of them decided that, hey, you know what? Let's let this thing happen because it would be great for the war business. Okay, and the proof is that thing with the beeper bombs. Okay, so somehow Israeli intelligence was able to infiltrate the companies, like probably somewhere in Asia, that make the beepers. Right, they were able to infiltrate them, rig them with bombs, and get those beepers into the hands of certain people that they wanted to blow up. Okay, so if they have that much control over the beepers, right, which is part of the communication industry, obviously it tells you that they, in general, American intelligence, Israeli intelligence, they have almost complete control of all communications, and it would have been impossible to coordinate the October 7th attacks, without these intelligence agencies knowing about it. So again, they let it happen because it's good for the war business. Okay, similar thing going on in Ukraine. Okay, with Ukraine, the U.S. basically rushed out of Afghanistan, leaving its equipment behind because they were, anticipating, this war in Ukraine. Okay, so again, with Ukraine, great opportunity to sell and test new equipment. They've achieved a new level of warfare with the drones. Okay, so they've been testing out those drones, fine tuning them. Basically having a good old time. Okay. So again, people in the business of war are always going to want to have war, and there was no president to basically stop them. Okay, so the part of the job of the president is to stop these agencies from doing the things that they want to do. Okay, because all these agencies, all these different bureaucracies, they're going to want to do the thing that they do to the max. Okay, so that's what it's like not having a president. That's what it would have been like if, when they drafted the Constitution, they had not, they had excluded an executive branch, right? You would have had a legislation that passes the laws, and then you would have had these unelected bureaucrats, being kind of like mini kings, right? Like you wouldn't have had one big king, right, over everyone, but you would have had all these little mini kings, having like almost complete authority over that section that they reign over. Okay, so something for you to think about. So, but yeah, this Biden administration gives us a good glimpse at what the United States would have been like if the people that said that we shouldn't have had a presidency or an executive branch had won out that debate, some 250 years ago. So drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you soon.